Hey everybody, it's Conor, and I'm talking to you right now because the story is finally coming out about what actually happened with OpenAI, and it's even more frustrating and surreal than I originally thought. So let's put us back there for a second, right? So Sam Altman was in Las Vegas, and he gets this Google Meet invite, which is hilarious because Microsoft Teams, I don't know. Anyway, but on the other side of this screen is Ilya Suskever and the three board members, but not Greg Brockman, right? So Suskever told Sam, like, hey, you're going to be fired. And no, I don't have an explanation for you, right? And the people firing him were obviously Ilya, plus Adam D'Angelo, Tasha McCauley, and Helen Toner, right? So there has been a lot of speculation, including from me, that this is really maybe centered around Adam D'Angelo because of his role in Quora or Poe or something like that. It just seemed maybe the most likely thing. But there's been some incredible reporting by the New York Times and Wall Street Journal tonight, so huge kudos to them, about a report written by Helen Toner, Director of Strategy and Foundational Research Grants at Georgetown's Center for Security and Emerging Technology. Now, Sam Altman didn't love the report she published, and that's probably understandable because Helen Toner, who's one of just 6 board members of OpenAI, was critical of OpenAI in that report, especially in relation and comparison to their primary competitor, Anthropic, right? So she writes, sort of like among other comments, which I read, by delaying the release of Claude until another company put out a similarly capable product, Anthropic was showing its willingness to avoid exactly the kind of frantic corner cutting that the release of ChatGPT appeared to spur. Dude, frantic corner cutting is wildly editorial, right? So again, this doesn't make Helen a bad person. It doesn't make her a lunatic or anything else. It just makes her a horrific choice for a board member of a company that is trying to change the world. So how did Helen Toner even get there in the first place, right? So quick flashback, right? So remember back in 2015, Sam Altman, Elon Musk, Ilya Suskever, they all built this nonprofit to create a safe AI that would benefit humanity. And then they soon realized that, wow, building AI is super, super expensive and donors weren't covering it. So they needed to build this for-profit business arm, this kind of subsidiary, to raise the capital. And that arm would be controlled by this nonprofit board, right? So, and according to OpenAI's own proclamation, essentially, the director's fiduciary duty would be to humanity, not OpenAI investors. Okay, great. It's sort of a great motto to live by. So here's where I want us to really, really focus, because this is the key to it all, folks. They had a balance of directors. Think Supreme Court for a second. They had a balance of directors who thought safety first and others who thought business first. And that was always intended to provide, like balance in the force so that one side couldn't get too powerful, right? It's why Sam Altman was always so outspoken when he was talking about safety and everything else in front of Congress and everything else, because he was trying to sort of like try to balance the two, right? But he was definitely more on the business focus. But that balance tipped dramatically earlier this year, because think about this for a second. They had 9 board members, right? Very Supreme Courty. In the spring, 3 of them rolled off. But guess what? All 3 were on that sort of like business side. So instead of having 5 kind of business-minded board members and 4 safety members and a nice balance, you had 4 safety members, people who had essentially no interest in the economic viability of OpenAI, and only 2 business-minded members, right? Sam Altman and Greg Brockman. So when Sam is like, hey, we should probably, fill up the board again. Let's reappoint 3 new business ones. Guess what? He's outvoted, right? They're like, no, we don't like those. And he's like, wait, what? And they're like, no, we want more of us. It's like, whoa. So fast forward to those calling Sam Altman and telling him he is fired. Now, of course, the senior leadership of OpenAI is like, what in the name of all that is holy is happening right now? We kind of thought we liked Sam Altman, and we kind of thought that everybody liked him. So what's happening? So the leadership team, led by Jason Kwan, who's the chief strategy officer, demands to talk to the board. And for like 40 minutes, they start demanding specific examples of Altman's so-called, lack of candor. And the board refused to give it to them, citing legal reasons. And then they said, which I just love, and it just reminds me of having kids. The board said that Altman was actually so slippery that in his, untruthfulness, they couldn't actually provide one specific example. So there were just so many of them. It's like, Oh, okay. Well, we'll just take your word for it then. So Jason Kwan and the leadership is all like, yo, this is probably going to like destroy the company. That doesn't really feel like something that the board should do, but we don't totally know, but that's just our opinion. And so this is where I want to read Helen Toner's response. And this is directly from that New York Times article, right? It says this. Ms. Toner disagreed. The board's mission is to ensure that the company creates artificial intelligence that, quote, benefits all of humanity. And if the company was destroyed, she said, that could be consistent with its mission. In the board's view, OpenAI would be stronger without Mr. Altman. And here we are. Does it feel like OpenAI is stronger without Sam Altman? And I'm just happy that Helen Toner is not on the board of a car company, because guess what? Automobiles murder more humans between the ages of 5 and 29, and it kills the planet faster than anybody else. But anyway, I'm digressing. This is absolutely ludicrous. And again, there's no shade to be thrown on these people as people or individuals or living up to what they believe. I'm just saying that it is an absolutely horrific person to be dominating a board of a company like OpenAI, which is seeking to change the world through artificial intelligence. I'm still hopeful that we can put this back together, that Sam Altman comes back, but we're all going to learn together.